going, bruh.
There it is.
All right, welcome to Good to Geek Out. Good place to go to geek out. I've been here a few times today, to be honest. It's like Groundhog Day. Chapter 16, The Mandalorian. We're here to cover it. Talk about something you probably heard of already. Editor, San Antonio. Cover the rescue with my lifelong friends here. What up, fellas?
Hey, Rob Lucy coming at you from Phoenix, Oregon. If you haven't, warning, spoilers ahead. Spoiler-filled episode. Maybe a review of the second season altogether. Obviously, this one is something I'm really excited to talk about. What did you think, Mr. Boba Fresh?
The book of Boba Fresh coming at you from San Francisco. I'm really looking forward to talking about this stuff, and I'm glad that there are no spoilers.
That's a shot. That's cruel.
Words.
I blew it. I spoiled something for a good friend. I'm that guy on accident. At least I'm not a dropper.
Well, it's interesting that you say that.
Yeah.
Isn't that a dropper? Anyway, so we've been doing a cold review of the cold openings this whole season. We will continue that. Slave One approaching the Imperial ship to quote unquote rescue Dr. Pershing. He's good flying. He's a good flyer. Good pilot.
I'm sorry, did you say rescue Dr. Pershing?
I was thinking kidnap.
I said quote unquote rescue.
Whose quotes? Whose quote was it? Like, who's quoting that? Who are you citing?
I mean, they ended up doing it. What's rescue?
I think that the cold open, again, the strength of this entire episode throughout the season, like they just set everything up so well. I mean, not only just with the previously ons, but like just getting the tone, like the cold open. Like, first of all, I don't know how the Slave One docks with the shuttle. I was really hoping that they would kind of answer that. They did that off screen, but like the rise up of the Slave One coming and just everything's so big. But when they get on the bridge and those Imperial dudes like face off, what do you think about that, Lucy?
I thought it was absolutely hilarious. So the one guy's like, "Hey, I give up, dude," and then his co-pilot or the pilot just shoots him, and then he starts talking crap to Cara Dune about watching her planet destroy and like this, that, and the other thing. And I'm just watching this. I'm like, this is not the smart play for this. This guy is like, because he's got Dr. Pershing, he's got a gun to Dr. Pershing's head. That's his like out. Like he's so arrogant that he's gonna talk down an obviously a drop trooper, talk crap about her planet, and she's like, he's getting shot right in the head.
I thought that the whole thing was cool in the sense that I didn't see it as arrogance as much as the fanaticism. Like, this is a die-hard dude. Because the other guy's part of the same empire. Like, he has the same air. Like, like there's still...
And then, I mean, they do also, you get that other side. Like, they've been showing the other side of the empire, like with the celebration last episode. And this one you get when the rebels are called terrorists because they killed millions on the Death Star, which is something also that's never been addressed outside of like a Kevin Smith movie. How many people die on the Death Star? All right.
Well, that's when I think her sly little which one was like a good.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was great fucking dialogue. Like, I mean, we want to talk about like just two people going back and forth, and we as the audience want her to pull the trigger so bad, and it's just such a release when she does. Like like, because you're just like, she's a law. She's gonna take him in. I know she's gonna take him in. He's like, oh nope, nope.
Not today. And then, so after the intro, we get straight to the Night Owls to go get Bo-Katan in a very, very interesting discussion, quote unquote discussion. Can I use the quotes now? About what Mandalorian means and what a Mandalorian is and what honor and respect is. That fight, jetpack. You're gonna start using your jetpack just to jump an extra 2 feet higher. I'm all in. I'll watch that all day. I loved it.
Yeah, totally agree. I think that
That's
the way that they use that small space, like they've been having, it was the opposite of episode three's big scene. Like, like everything is always so, there's a million clone troopers out over there and like all this. And they're just like, nah, this is just what happens in the cantina. Like we breaking tables, we run up the sides of walls and doing drop kicks with jetpacks and like flamethrower, like dual, like man, get out of here. That shit was dope.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, and then just dropping the whole clone thing. Like I've heard your voice 1,000 times.
Yeah.
I mean, no one's disrespected. Well, no one. It's not even disrespect. No one's just addressed him in that way since.
It'll be
So yeah, so well, it's funny as the Mandalorian and Boba Fett walk into the cantina, silence. And then you see a couple of those aliens make it for the they're going to the door. They know some trouble's about to happen. But then yeah, so to your, I always thought that Boba Fett was considered a Mandalorian. He is the actual legitimate son. He's not a clone, or am I mistaken?
No, he's a perfect clone.
Yeah, but Lucy's thinking that he had a biological mom.
Oh no.
Am I incorrect on that, Lucy?
No. I did not think he was cloned like the other ones. I didn't like he was born in a tank, but aged
normally. Yeah, raised
normally.
So the tank was the mother. Put it that way, and then he kind of raised him from there, I assume.
So did he get the armor? Was the armor passed down to him?
He got it off his father's corpse.
Or did Jango Fett treat him like an actual like an actual son, or does Jango Fett even know
he was raised like his son?
Yeah. Okay. So he has a completely different experience than your other clones, and I don't think Bo-Katan quite understood that. And then when they leave, they had the Mandalorian, I guess, large freighter style ship sitting next to Slave One. I thought that was a nice scene. Like, ooh, I thought they always had the coolest, or some of the coolest ship designs. Yeah, and then we go into the planning phase.
Yeah, once you get the planning phase, they start talking about the Dark Troopers through Pershing when he starts giving them information voluntarily. We find out that they are the third generation that Strider had been talking about this whole time, and they are droids, they're not humans.
Which I also think is cool for them to have done the 2 iterations of Dark Troopers off screen, because that gives you seed something else that they can explore later on, like what failed in this story with the first 2, where they're just like, nope, we just got to take the biological component out completely. They looked great.
Yeah, and then that's when they try to do the infiltration, and they get the TIE fighters get sent out instead of them getting allowed on board. What'd you think about that scene, Lucy? When
I thought how they launched the TIE fighters was just beautiful, coming over on like the cranes and then launching them down. What could be thought of as maybe like a rail cannon, almost like like another throwback to Top Gun when these things are getting launched off the deck of the aircraft carrier on the catapult, and yeah, to Boba Fett's credit, he's a really good shot by missing very, very closely. Yeah, and it was gorgeous. It was a gorgeous scene.
Yeah, it's going to be a ride one day, for sure. And then
I could see them making that part of like a Star Tours. The crash was dope. Like, I mean, you want to do a proper beachhead scene. They did just enough subterfuge with the Imperial shuttle where they're like, should we let this person out? Should we not? And then that just perfect dive bomb, shredding the wings and just like it was dope. Like it was what I wanted. It was amazing.
It's just like the last one when they're all sharpshooters, so it's really quick. Like they start tearing through that place really quick until we get
all girl strike team. heading to the
Yeah, yeah.
bridge.
I didn't notice that till the third time, and I was like, "Oh, that's right, Boba Fett's gone. Oh, he's just got the A Force Avengers backing him up."
But yeah, the way that they all end up fanning out, and you just have uh, this all-female strike force that ends up being so naturally just like woven. And it made me think of, obviously everyone's complaint about the forced splash page in Avengers with the
Who's complaining
put
about
all
that?
put all the women in the row at the one same time, like da, da, da. And as
Yeah,
where
some
that,
dumbasses complaining about that scene because that was a badass scene
Yeah,
in that
that's A
movie.
Force right
I
there.
100% agree. And the way that that was felt forced for everyone, no one could complain. Like anyone who wants to like take apart like how bad the women are just not as good. Like any of that mentality, like they went in and fucked shit up. I wanted to play that game. I wanted to be in that game. It was dope.
Nice. Star Destroyer droid for a little reference. Haven't seen those ever since Star Wars, right?
Oh, what, you mean as the Mandalorians walking to the brig?
Yeah,
He sees that.
Mouse droid?
the Star Destroyer droid, the white one, the like silver pale white one
Oh,
with the bug eyes.
yeah, their version of C3PO, but it was made by an insect species, the same ones that are Forlom or Zuckus, one of their species.
Oh, that makes sense. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're like, why would we make human heads on our robots? Here, we put insect heads on our robots.
Uh, so then Moff Gideon releases the Dark Troopers, and that music is a whole entity unto itself. Every time you see them, but I think you hear it most, especially when they're released, and it's like this synthy, like uncomfortable, almost horror type music. Man, every time I watch it, it stops me in my tracks because everything's progressing at a certain rate, at a certain point up to there, and there's a lot going on. But that music just stops you, and you realize like, oh shit. And then the way it's shot, obviously, something's about to go down.
I think it was a cool contrast, the way that they came out with the maximum initiative, as Bo-Katan put it. And after that, you get Jin just like, oh shit, they killed all y'all. Like, you're dead. Like I don't have to like double down and shoot anybody. Like y'all are all dead. But to have the stealth aspect, like sometimes whenever I watch these, I always think about like it feels very much like running a Star Wars role playing game, and there's so many times that I would say do not split the party, but the way that they split the party to tell these two different stories was like, I'd be like, all right, cool, let's run this, because when he does get down the hall, the Dark Troopers are released, and he's like, no, 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 no.
It, the one thing that I noticed, but I thought was a great shot. Not only does his spear hold up, but his helmet holds up as it's making a dent in the bulkhead of the ship. It's like driven like 4, 5, 6 inches into that thing. It's like, ooh. So yeah, that Beskar is some special stuff.
Yeah, that beat down is a special thing too. It was a real skank in the stud pie.
The fucking Moff Gideon comes in so dick dastardly. He is so over the top with his cartoonish villainy that I love it. So you want the baby, do you?
Let me tell you, I know you're out of. I know you're out of your. I don't want to jump too far, but I 100% agree. From the point that you see him in the cell, he basically narrates the rest of the entire episode,
Yeah.
which he does so well. It's like he's just explaining it, which is a little bit corny, but yeah, it is that Dick Dastardly, like, oh, he's an annoying supervillain.
And
Yeah,
the because
but in a way that doesn't. It's like, yeah, oh, it's hilarious.
And because he's so charismatic, like you're right, Lucy. Like there's so much exposition that's getting dropped, and we, I think, also forget like this is the first time some people are watching any of this ever.
Sure.
So for the culmination to matter for anybody, the fact that he's there like spoon feeding you, but in this way that's like, but did you know about this?
And I mean, after we were talking about the watch, the Death Watch that Mando was raised in, and how they were called fanatics and what's the word I'm looking for? Zealots by Bo-Katan and the Night Owls. And here we see they are fanatics in their own way, that they have some ritual they must adhere to where they can't you can't take the Darksaber unless she defeats him in battle. And I know that people are going to reference Clone Wars when she did take it, but I'd like to note that she took that reluctantly and did not take it as acceptance. She took it as someone who was going to hold the saber until a true queen or king rose to lead them. So that's the difference. But she wants to be the leader here, so she has to take it through the right proper ritual.
Yeah, and how do we find that out? Moff Gideon tells
Moff
us
Gideon.
all about it. Cool, let's keep it going.
So now the moment everyone's waiting for, the X-Wing rolls up. What'd you guys think?
I'm sure if they did not give up the baby, he would have killed every single person in that room.
Yeah, yeah, he has a darkness to him at this point in time.
There's a reason it looks like Vader from Rogue One.
Yeah, no,
Very similar fighting.
That's Black Glove and everything.
Yeah, it's the black suit, the black glove, the dark robe, and he gosh, his skills through there. We were talking about it before. And like, how many like no look behind the back blocks does he have?
4 to 5.
And the way that he uses the Force, just like crushing them like old aluminum cans. That was like a real dark side look. That's some Vader like, oh. So if he could do that to a robot, he could basically pop somebody's head like a cherry if he wanted to. And he has like an arrogance to him too when he's coming through all this. And I'm thinking at his age, also funny, that I noted that Boba Fett didn't know Luke was coming, had like beelined it out, like had booked out of there not 30 minutes before he shows up. And the last time Luke saw Boba Fett, he was going down into the Sarlacc pit.
Oh, that's a good
I was like, oh, that's kind of like an interesting way to cross paths again. I wonder what Luke would have said about Boba Fett if he had been on the bridge for that interaction.
Oh. Then the CGI gets a little wonky, right? That little face CGI got a little wonky for a second. But I did like the moments where they spoke from behind. He spoke from behind. You'd look from behind, and that kind of worked really well. I think it did a little too much with his face trying to talk, but it was really good. And then, mask off, right? What'd you think about that? Strutter. Little green paws on your grill.
I've legit never been more upset with Ed in my life.
He's gonna say it, isn't he?
Well, maybe one of the times he accidentally didn't record the entire episode.
Yeah, no, I was actually swearing mad at Ed.
He was gonna kill.
Because the X-Wing lands and Ed had decided to post the Luke any good TV lately, which again,
the Mark Hamill tweet.
It was my choice to not watch it that night because I like to watch it the day before we watch, before we record. Like that's how it's been done.
I apologize.
So when I was like, oh well, maybe this is a red herring. Like maybe the hood's on the whole time. Like ooh, like maybe it's gonna be maybe it is gonna be Ezra. Like like they could be like I don't know. Like like and it was Luke, and I was like, it was not a red herring. I was like, like the thrill I should have felt when that X-Wing showed up, and I was like, everyone else is feeling.
Oh, I jumped off the couch and just yelled, Luke! Yeah. My girlfriend was sitting next to me. She's like, whoa, you're a little excited?
I think that's Strotter's point is I stole that from him.
Yeah, I'm rubbing it in a little bit too.
Replaced it with anger.
It comes in. He gives it up, pulls the helmet off. I think we talked about before how Bo-Katan, was calling him a religious zealot. He did take off his helmet last time. He hasn't been around his, quote unquote clan for a while, has run across many other people, and then a couple different style Mandalorians. He's like, okay, there's more than one way to live. It shows his growth as a character, and we talked about seeing him grow, especially in the second season. And I thought, yeah, it was really poignant for him to take off the helmet, and in a way, like he's saying, grow to bye to Grogu, and he wants to show him his face. He's also saying bye to that chapter in his life.
Yeah.
And where does it go from here? Do we get a season 3 of The Mandalorian? Is it going to be a conflict between him and Bo-Katan? Because she obviously wants to, go back to Mandalore. He doesn't seem to care, but now they're in the middle of a pretty tough spot. I mean, he doesn't care, but he's not going to go out without a fight.
And I think that, like, to get to Lucy's point, like, we're talking about growth. Like, in the first season, like, he learned to not hate droids, and in this one, like, he learns to not be this religious fanatic, that it's okay to, like, let people in and have friends, and that life is different when you have a purpose. Like, before, like, they've just been hiding out. Like, he's been hiding out his whole life. Like, he's never gone out into the universe and, like, had a purpose to do something, and he's saying goodbye to his first purpose, like his first, like,
his first quest. I've been quested, I've been quested to take this one to his kind.
I mean,
now he's a man without a quest.
well, I mean, that's the thing too. I think he's learning his own way, and like if you notice, I think he might say, "May the force be with you," as much as he does, "This is the way," this whole season, and that was like a big thing last season. First season, "This is the way, this is the way." It's all you hear, and now it's gone. He's evolved beyond that, I think. And I mean, and Strider, I cried too. Seeing R2 turned it into tears of joy really quick, and then it turned, and then the leg hug and watching him leave and Luke holding him, and like that last eye contact between them made me cry again out of like sadness, not out of joy.
And then what about our friend Boba Fett and
Fennec.
Is it Fennec? Yeah. Boba Fett just going down to Tatooine, walking into Jabba's old base of operations. Like, we're taking over.
Bib Fortuna, a little swole up like myself, not the good kind of swole.
Yeah, no, I thought that it was so fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
Can you do a fold close? Because that's what they did. And the slow setup of everyone being off screen, and you're just like, oh, like, people just getting shot, and like, you go get them. And again, to hit on this old Western / Kira Kurosawa feel of, like, like the fat samurai lord, like, oh, you go and fight, and everyone just getting blasted, but it happens so quick. Dope that Fennec lets the dancer go, and just like, all right, we don't do that here anymore. We don't do that here anymore.
Yeah.
And just that cold shot again, because it reminded me of the open of Cara Dune shooting the guy. And I was just like, this is ending with a cold blade. Like, we're not talking. Like, what the fuck are we talking? Why are we talking? And the way that Boba, like, just kicks him out and sits down in that throne.
Yeah. And then you got Fennec just smelling that little liquor from the back. Starts chugging it on the 1 foot on the throne. Like,
Well, it's interesting because you know what, I forgot about it, and I don't think most people would be thinking about it. But when it comes down to it, he's a bounty hunter and she's a mercenary. I mean, those guys have always been into the money. He had one moment where he's like, okay, like, I'm gonna, I'll help you out. I made a promise. I keep my promises. I keep my word. But I'm gangster when this is over. Bam.
That's enormous.
Yeah, and depending on what history they end up using for Boba's his missing years, they could easily involve the Bounty Hunters Guild, which we already know that Din Djarin was already a part of. And so we know that the Bounty Hunters Guild's still out there and active. So what if Boba opens up his own Bounty Hunters Guild operating out of Jabba's palace? And so you just have a super dope base of operations that allows you to go out on adventures.
Yeah.
As a story. Like, it was dope. And it's funny because I was thinking earlier, I was like, nobody died. Like the end of Game of Thrones. Sorry, spoiler alert if you haven't watched the final season of Game of Thrones. Like nobody important died. And then the Finnick reveal at the end, and I was like, the one person who I thought was like the most expendable is obviously going to be like flipped into that amazing character. It was dope. It was dope.
Yeah. All right. Hey, thank you guys for watching. Can't wait to see what we're going to be reviewing next. We'll have a discussion about that. If you guys have any ideas, if somebody wants to read them, like, comment, subscribe. What would you like to see reviewed? I'm out.
Editor, San Antonio, out. Take us out, Stroder.
Thanks to all y'all out there. Appreciate your tuning in. Thanks for geeking out. Good to go, geek out. And this is Boba Fresh, the Book of Boba.